Welcome back to the Titanium Hangar. This is Mike. I'm coming at you with another video. This time, I want to talk to you about the weekly news and review. And there's other news other than TFCon out there. And if you want to see some TFCon news and what came out of that, watch the TFCon video. I'm not really going to talk about that in here because it would be very redundant. But what we did not see there and what was not presented there, I think will get presented at Comic-Con. Here we are. Comic-Con's coming up in a few days. It's going to be a lot of great reveals, a lot of great things. And I think everything that we feel we didn't get out of TFCon in Toronto is going to happen here. And I really think that's why. That's all there is to it. First up, we're going to do a little bit of Chugg talk here. And there is this Galactic Man Shockwave that's coming out. And Generation Selects. This thing is a repaint to look like the Shockwave that they were selling at Radio Shack, and I think that's cool. Now, I think this is a cool mold, and I don't have any issue with it. I'm curious what the price will be, and I'm curious if it's going to come with all the extra kibble parts that the other one did. I don't know yet, but it'd be pretty interesting to find that out. They're also coming out with their Lancer, which is just a remold of Finbots, but still, it's cool. It's a thing, and if you want to get every single color under the sun of these, they're coming out with them. Also, that leads into you can build a Fembot combiner now, so that's cool. That's the thing. That's where this has been going with all these re-releases and recolors of these Fembots, and I just think it's really interesting because there really has not been much of a representation in the Transformers of the Fembots. So here they are, and they combine. It looks pretty cool. Keeping in line with some Chugg items, I know we're all looking forward to this Omega Supreme from Hasbro, and I noticed that it looked odd, and I just felt like, wow, how did I miss this? That's some goofy looking hips, because those hips aren't lying. Those are goofy looking hips. And over at Unicron.com, they pointed out that that was the running change that held this thing up. And so I should have caught that myself, because I know I looked at it and I said, man, I can't believe how goofy the hips look. I like the prototype look so much better. That prototype looks a lot more in line with what the third-party Masterpiece is giving us. And then you look over to what they're gonna give us, and that scares me a little bit. But then it also looks like they've made some more modifications to the midsection of the chest, abdominal area. Now, here's the thing. The modifications are being made so that it's more stable, so that it works better. And so it's kind of a double-edged sword. But which one do you think looks better? We're also seeing a 35th anniversary blue streak. I think it's cool. I've got the Prowl mold. I don't think I'm going to go after multiple colors of this same mold. It's a cool mold. It's a good mold. And if you want to get well, they're not really Dotsons, but Dotson brothers in the futuristic brother look, well, I guess you could, and they look good. I mean, it looks good. I like the way it looks. Stepping down a bit from Chugg and into a pile of legends, we're getting this Hound, and as you all know, with my failed attempt at humor in my rant video about Legends, I'm getting into collecting these things, so I'm paying closer attention to them. And Hound is underrepresented in a G1 version of these guys, and so this will be a larger version of Hound. And I mean, obviously it's their own mold, so we've got all these different names, but it's still McFan's Toys, and McFan's Toys is making this figure is going to be on the larger side of the scale, and that's kind of where I live in Legends Plus. Now, one of the exciting things here is they're also coming out with an Astro Train. Now, I don't understand why they can't show us the bot mode yet, but it's cool looking and it's exciting, and for someone who personally I'm just getting into the Legends, and I've been doing a lot of research on them, and it's interesting we're going to get this character. And this is one of the debates in the Legends thing is are we going to see more representation of more characters in the Legends before we see it in the Masterpiece? So kind of like this guy here is coming out and this is very good representation. are we going to see like a punch counter punch before we see a masterpiece punch counter punch? That's when we're gonna see if Legends is really exploded. But I'm not gonna lie, I'm looking forward to this guy right here. One more tidbit here is that we've got a I think this is Fan Toys again on making an Ultra Magnus. Now, it looks like they're copying Magic Square on this. I'm not 100% sure if it's theirs or if they're copying Magic Squares, which that's tricky with this. But I'm going to get Magic Squares because this one would probably be too big for my shelf that I'm going to display them. But it still looks good, and when I do get Magic Square in and do a review on it, I want to have a bit of a discussion actually about Ultra Magnus in general. This is a Super 7 SDCC exclusive. I believe it's the SDCC exclusive. But it's Megatron, and you're going to see his inner workings. And I can't remember who it was that pointed out that would really be cool if we had a Galvatron like this. This would lend itself to a Galvatron. You put them side by side, let them light up. Like you turn from Megatron to Galvatron in the show. And maybe I think that's what they're going for. Next up, we're starting to see the next round of G1 reissues coming to life, getting issued, and showing up. This showed up in Canada, so it's really strange how things just show up in different places at different times. But I'm excited. This is Soundwave's one of my favorite characters, and although I may have a couple of box ones already, I still will pick one up just because I love the character. And the box is going to be in better shape than mine. Now, we've talked about this crowdfunding Gold Optimus Prime, and what I'm learning about crowdfunding, because I really haven't been involved with it other than the Jabba Cell Barge. I was in on that one. That's the only crowdfunding project I've been in on. Is they like to throw in extra goodies. So the extra goodie that this one's getting is this little booklet. And the booklet, this should be the front and back cover, is going to have some pictures and drawings of this is the Optimus Prime, and it's got a mouth chart on how his mouth should look, and it's really interesting. Now, this is, my belief, official drawings from back in the 80s of how they're trying to get everything on point for the animation, which this kind of stuff really does interest me. And I know we have that discussion back and forth on, do you use an animation still, or do you use the Sunbow chart? And, well, here you go. This looks like it's got a combination of both of those going on here. But yeah, really cool. I mean, I actually would like to get my hands on this little booklet myself, just to have a little piece of history. And these looks like actual photos of actual drawings from back in the day. Really cool, really exciting. So the reissue of Fans Toys Quietus the T has stimulated quite a bit of conversation, and I had a video on that. You can go watch that. I think I put it up sometime last week. But it's starting to sell out at multiple places. Now, I know for sure you can still get it at TF Source, but I know that TF Direct, Show Z, BBTS have all sold out, and I'm just curious how quick it takes for them to sell out. And the reason I think it's selling out fast is because I don't think this is a huge run. I think it's a very small run. They didn't put a number quantity on this like they did with the Phoenix, but in case maybe you missed the video I put out and you're looking to get one of these because the price has gone through the roof on them before they announced the reissue, so grab it while you can if this is a character that you're in for. And just for fun, I like to throw in something fun each week. The Pile O Magic Square Primes. I like looking at stuff like this, sort of the behind the scenes look. I mean, obviously I'm not going to have this many Primes, or do I? No, I sure don't have this many Primes in all my collection, but really cool looking. It's always fun to see the behind the scenes in this. So transferring into Star Wars, there's always a good bit of Star Wars news, and as you know, we have some exclusives coming our way. I'm not going to go through all of them. I'm just going to point out this guy here. and then I'll do a recap on SDCC stuff after SDCC or during it. But this guy is the first insight into the episode 9, and I still feel episode 9 is going to redeem the franchise for the new trilogy, because we'll tie up some loose ends and make it entertaining and interesting all at the same time. So I think it can be done. I don't think that the franchise is completely broken. But looking into this figure here, this to me is better than what I think the 08 Praetorian Guard was, which I still like the Praetorian Guard, but I like this one too. This is cool. I think recoloring Stormtroopers, I don't know if I'd want a blue one or a green one. I mean, this is fine. This is fine. But a Sith Trooper, really interesting how they worked that into the whole deal. Now, if you're a Mandalorian fan or a Star Wars fan and fan of Boba Fett or a fan of Jango Fett, you're going to like the show Mandalorian, probably. Now, we have yet to see one episode, and they're working on season 2. So that's a high level of confidence. But I gotta say, I'm kind of excited for it. It'd be kind of hard for it to be a miss, seeing from the little clip we got to see at the celebration. But season 2 already. Wow. Like, they're working on that fast, and I know that we've had this huge planned drought of Star Wars leading up to the new movie and the beginning of this series. So the hunger should be swelling inside of us. For those of you who were looking forward to a Bespin or a Unicron or a G.I. Joe Flag 2.0 or any of these other, those are terrible ideas. What you need is a puppet, and we need Cookie Monster. Now, this is interesting because I have to say I didn't see this coming. But what you're going to get is a Cookie Monster for $300 that is pretty much the life-size version. It's 36 inches tall, sitting down. I do plan on doing a discussion with a friend of mine, just got to get our schedules together, about the future of HasLab if they go down this route. And the funny thing is, my friend actually has life-size Bert and Ernie's and a Big Bird. So, but he's not in on this. I'm not in on this. This doesn't interest him, and he has life-size characters himself that he refuses to get rid of for whatever price because he likes them, and he's not in on this. Makes me wonder if this will see light of day. Will this hit the minimum mark? Now, they set the target at 3,000. It only has 204 backers. Now, as saying it's something I'm not interested in, I don't see that there's that many people that back the barge would be backing this, so they're going for a completely different audience. And guess what? That audience deserves a shot. A shot at this. Now, sadly, this is the kind of puppet these days that quickly sells for $300, $325, up to $500. And the Jeffy puppet, I won't go into much detail. My own personal thoughts about the show that it comes from, or my personal thoughts of how my son was watching this show that it comes from. I might save that for another video, but this is the kind of stuff that sells for $300, not Cookie Monster, sadly enough. But if this doesn't get back, then it kind of proves it's going to be HasLab's in a niche, which I thought they were a niche anyway. But we're going to see how this pans out and how it works out. And I look forward to seeing how it works. Now, there's the Docking Bay 94 display coming from Cardboard Galaxy. And it is kind of funny. They said, "Are you disappointed in the HasLab announcement?" And it shows a Cookie Monster. But they've actually done a couple of other things. I believe they're the ones responsible for giving the extra cardboard pieces to make your Jabba Palace look good and fill in the holes and the gaps and just make it look like you had a stairway to somewhere instead of a stairway to nowhere. But moving into the Jabba Palace that has seen a lot of drama and turmoil already, this thing is showing up on Walmart shelves like it should. It hasn't shown up on any of my Walmart shelves yet, like I tell you that, but What I want the most out of this is the 2 figures and to have the parts and pieces to build the diorama for... I think there's going to be 2 more sets coming. That's been the rumor. If this is successful, they'll do 2 more, and then you could have a full giant Jabba palace when you put it all together. That's what I think. And then you're buying a $150 set in $50 increments, but you can get 2 figures at a time. Hopefully they keep coming like that. Next up, we have these figures are showing up in Targets now, the newest wave of the Black Series, and you're getting 2 of the final crew to finish out the Rebels, and that Chopper and Ezra. And I gotta say, you're really just gonna be 1 more figure to have a whole crew, and they're gonna end up having to do it. So the Zeb guy is gonna need to get made. But these are showing up. I went ahead and picked all of them up except Obi-Wan. I didn't need him, I don't think, for me personally. But he's a very good-looking face on there. It was very tempting. So watch out for these guys. And the last bit of news that there's Regal Robots is coming up with this Jabba's gargoyle magnet. And I guess it's a fridge magnet. I'm not sure. It's a magnet. Is it supposed to just go in your fridge? I don't know. It's cool, but it's going to be up for order just during the days of the convention of SDCC. So if this kind of thing interests you, check it out. So anyway, let me know what you think of this week's weekly news and review. And are you excited about SDCC coming up? Were you overwhelmed, excited about TFCon? And are you in on this new HasLab project? Like, subscribe to Dear Hanger out.